Hello, my dear friends at VitaPrime Health. I'm Dr. Eleanor Vance, and I am so deeply glad you've joined me today for a conversation that is very close to my heart. We're going to talk about something that surrounds us every single moment of our lives, yet we rarely stop to think about how it's actually changing our bodies from the inside out. Light. Before we dive into the science, I want to ask a small favor. Please stay with me until the very end of this talk. There are specific, crucial steps and simple tools I'll be sharing in the final part of our time together, the lifestyle integrations and the actual how-to that can make a world of difference in your daily energy and long-term health. I don't want you to miss a single one because, as we will discuss, the timing and the dosage of light matter just as much as the light itself. While you're listening, if any of this resonates with your own experiences, maybe you've noticed your eyes feeling more tired lately, or perhaps your sleep hasn't been as deep as it once was, please leave a comment below. I truly value our community's voice, and I want to hear your story. Now let's talk about our indoor world. I have to tell you, as a physician and researcher at Stanford, I am deeply concerned about the lighting in our modern homes. We have moved away from the warm, full-spectrum light of the sun and even the old-fashioned incandescent bulbs, replacing them with LEDs. While they are energy efficient, we are discovering that they may come with a heavy biological price. Some of my esteemed colleagues, including Dr. Glenn Jeffrey, have gone so far as to compare the potential long-term public health impact of excessive LED exposure to that of asbestos. That is a heavy statement, I know, but the science emerging about our mitochondria, those tiny power plants inside every one of your cells, is telling us we need to pay attention. The shift in our light environment is a relatively new experiment in human history. For millions of years, our biology was tuned to the rising and setting of the sun. Sunlight provides a smooth, balanced continuum of wavelengths, from the short, energetic blues to the long, healing reds and near infrareds. But LEDs are engineered for human vision, not human biology. They are often blue-heavy, lacking those long red wavelengths entirely. When we look at cells under these conditions in the lab, we see the mitochondria start to struggle. They become less responsive, their membranes don't breathe as well, and they begin to decline. But here is the beautiful part, and why I'm so excited to share this with you. We've discovered that red, near infrared, and infrared light can actually act as a protective shield and a restorative fuel for these mitochondria. These long wavelengths of light can penetrate deep into your body, right through your skin, your clothing, and even into your tissues to support the health of your organs, your brain, and your eyes. I want to pause here and share a story about a patient of mine. Let's call her Martha. Martha is 72, a retired school teacher who loved to read but found that by 4 p.m. every day, her eyes were so strained and her brain fog so thick that she had to stop. She felt she was just losing her edge. We didn't give her a new prescription. We gave her a new light protocol. Within 3 weeks of introducing specific red light exposure in the mornings, Martha told me she felt like the lights had been turned back on in her mind. Her afternoon fatigue vanished. This isn't magic, it's mitochondrial biology. As we move through this, please remember to comment below if you've ever felt that late afternoon slump. It's a common experience, but it doesn't have to be your normal. To understand why this works, we have to look back at our cultural history. Before the Industrial Revolution, we spent most of our time outdoors. Even when we were inside, we were often near a fire. Firelight is incredibly rich in red and infrared light. We didn't realize it at the time, but the glow of the hearth was actually providing a biological nutrient that balanced out the stresses of the day. Today we live in biological darkness. We are surrounded by light we can see, but starved of the invisible infrared light our cells need. Let's look at the clinical evidence. There have been fascinating studies regarding the retina, the back of the eye. The retina has the highest concentration of mitochondria in the entire human body because vision is an incredibly energy-intensive process. As we age, these mitochondria naturally lose their efficiency. However, researchers have found that exposing the eyes to deep red light for just a few minutes a day can actually recharge these batteries. In many cases, this led to a significant improvement in color vision and contrast sensitivity in seniors. Question: can red light really help with blood sugar? This is one of the most groundbreaking areas of current research. It sounds almost like science fiction, doesn't it? But studies have shown that even a brief burst of red light on a small patch of skin, like your back, can significantly reduce the spike in blood glucose after a meal. In controlled trials, subjects who received red light exposure saw their post-meal blood sugar peak reduced by over 20%. This happens because the light stimulates the mitochondria across your entire cellular community, making them more efficient at using glucose and oxygen for energy. It turns light into a metabolic regulator. Question: is it safe for my eyes to use red light? This is a common and very important concern. While we must always protect our eyes from excessive burning UV light or high-intensity lasers, the right kind of long wavelength light, specifically in the 670 nanometer range, can be incredibly healing. You don't need to stare into a bright light. In fact, Dr. Jeffrey's research shows that the light can be quite dim and still be effective. Many people choose to simply close their eyes and let the light pass through their eyelids, which it does quite easily. Question: why does water matter in this process? This was one of the biggest aha moments in modern biophysics. It turns out that mitochondria themselves don't just eat the red light. Instead, the light is absorbed by the water surrounding those tiny cellular motors. Long wavelength light changes the viscosity or the thickness of the water at a microscopic level. Imagine a motor trying to spin in thick molasses versus spinning in thin, light oil. Red light turns the molasses in your cells into light oil, allowing the mitochondrial pumps to spin faster and produce more ATP, the energy your body uses for everything from walking to thinking. There are many myths out there about light, and I want to clear some of them up. One common myth is that light is just light. People think that as long as a room is bright enough to see, their body is happy. But our skin and our internal clocks are sensing the spectrum of that light, even if our conscious mind isn't. Another myth is that you need to be in direct sunlight for hours to get any benefit. While sunlight is gold, even short targeted exposures to specific wavelengths can trigger these healing cascades. Let's consider another patient, Arthur. Arthur is a veteran in his late 60s who struggled with slow healing wounds on his legs. We know that circulation and cellular energy are key to healing. By using a red light device for 10 minutes a day alongside his standard care, the speed of his skin repair doubled. The light gave his skin cells the extra shift of energy they needed to rebuild tissue. Now, as we move into the final part of our discussion, I want to give you the practical daily integrations. This is where the rubber meets the road. If you are ready to make a change, please type "I'm ready" in the comments. It helps keep us all accountable in this journey toward health. First, let's address the morning. The best thing you can do for your biology is to get natural sunlight in your eyes within the first hour of waking. Even if it's cloudy, the infrared light is there. If you cannot get outside, consider replacing your bedside LED bulb with an old-fashioned incandescent or a specific warm halogen bulb. These bulbs produce much more red and infrared light than standard modern LEDs. Second, think about your work environment. If you spend hours in front of a computer screen, you are being bombarded with blue light. This can lead to digital eye strain and can actually disrupt your glucose metabolism. A simple fix: place a small red light lamp on your desk pointed towards you, but not directly in your eyes. This helps balance the spectrum. Third, let's talk about the afternoon slump. Instead of reaching for a third cup of coffee, try 5 minutes of red light exposure. There are now affordable red light panels designed for home use. You don't need the most expensive one, you just need one that emits light in the 660 to 850 nanometer range. Question: how do I know if my LED lights are harmful? Not all LEDs are created equal, but most standard cool white bulbs have a massive blue spike in their spectrum. You can check this by looking at the color temperature on the box. Anything above 3000 Kelvin is likely very blue heavy. For your living spaces, especially in the evening, look for warm white bulbs that are 2700 Kelvin or lower. Question: do I need an expensive device to get these benefits? Absolutely not. While medical-grade red light panels are wonderful for targeted therapy, you can find many of these benefits through simple, low-cost lifestyle changes. Even spending time near a fireplace or using candles safely provides those long wavelengths. Additionally, did you know that green plants are infrared reflectors? Nature has designed it so that when you are in a forest or a garden, the leaves are bouncing infrared light directly onto your skin. Question: can I get too much red light? Like anything in biology, there is a U-shaped response curve. A little bit is a powerful stimulus, but hours and hours of exposure aren't necessarily better. For most people, 5 to 20 minutes a day is the sweet spot for cellular recharging. Question: is this beneficial for brain health? Yes, this is one of the most exciting frontiers. There is a field called photobiomodulation, which is studying how near-infrared light can pass through the skull to reduce inflammation in the brain. Early studies suggest this may help with mood regulation and cognitive longevity. Question: what is the best time of day for light therapy? Research suggests that our mitochondria are more responsive to these recharging wavelengths in the morning. Just as the sunrise provides a specific blend of light to wake up our systems, using red light early in the day seems to set a healthy tone for your metabolism and your sleep-wake cycle later that night. My dear friends, we live in a world that is often light poor, even when it's bright. But by being intentional, by choosing the right bulbs, spending time in nature, and perhaps using a simple red light tool, you can give your mitochondria the support they need to keep you vibrant for decades to come. I truly hope this has been an enlightening conversation, pun intended. If you found value in our time today, please subscribe to this channel, VitaPrime Health. It is your support that allows us to keep digging into the evidence-based science that matters to our community. And please share this video with your family, your children, and your friends. Everyone deserves to know that the light in their home can be a tool for healing. I'll be looking for your comments below. Tell me, what is one change you're going to make to your lighting this week? I can't wait to read your responses. Until next time, stay warm, stay curious, and take good care of those beautiful cells. This is Dr. Eleanor Vance, wishing you a day full of healthy, healing light.